Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel again and to a new video. Today we are going to look at a distro and a new distro ISO, which is EndeavourOS ISO February 2021. There are some new packages there are some changes. So without too much talking, let's dive into the video. So here we go guys, I downloaded the ISO for EndeavourOS and let's boot up the machine because I'm gonna go through the new things once we are on the live ISO. So as you can see here, I already booted up the machine. We have two choices to boot with the normal CD or the normal ISO, I would say, or if you have an NVIDIA card, for example, you can boot up with the NVIDIA non-free. In my case, I'm gonna choose the second option here. So I'm just gonna hit enter and proceed with the boot. This is going to take a second to boot out the machine, as you can see here. And as you already know, EndeavourOS is based on Arch Linux, and they released this new ISO in February of 2021, so this month basically, and it's the first ISO update since September of last year, so it's quite a big one. So here we boot it up, and the first thing I want to do here on the welcome app is to change my display resolution. So I'm just going to click this, click my resolution and set and quit, and that looks better to me. Now, the next step I would like to do before getting started here is to update also the app here, just to make sure that there are no updated versions. And it's going to restart up again. And it's the same version, so there are no new versions for this, but I just checked just in case. So this is the live ISO, and by default, it boots up with the XFC desktop environment, which is the main desktop environment for EndeavourOS. And let me pull up here one browser. And by default, EndeavourOS ships with Firefox. So let me go full screen here. And we are booting up here into the home page. So let's go here to download and latest release. And these are some informations about the February ISO. So as usual in EndeavourOS, you have a choice to do the offline installation, which is going to install the XFC desktop environment with the Endeavour branding, or you can choose also the online installation, which is going to provide you with more choices for desktop environments and VMs. Now, a few updates here on this ISO. As you can see here, the ISO contains now the kernel 10.5.11, which was the last one a few days ago. I think right now we have 5.10.12. We have also some new drivers for Mesa and NVIDIA. We have the new update version of Firefox, and also the version of Calamares has been updated as well. And this live environment boots up with the XFC 4.16 version. Now we have several improvements here, and there are some of these which are pretty important and pretty also interesting. Now, between the ones that are most interesting for me at least, it's one, you can now choose to have a swap file from the installer instead of having a swap partition. Now, until now, it was possible to do a swap partition with or without hibernation, but starting with this installer, you also have the choice to create a swap file, which is a great thing if you're installing EndeavourOS maybe on a system with a lot of RAM. Now, another big change, in my opinion, is that when choosing online install, mirrors will be automatically updated for a faster install. So this actually is great because, as it says also here, it's decreasing the possibility of a fail install caused by unresponsive mirrors. So I've been experiencing this with the previous ISO, and I had to actually always update the mirrors before starting the installer so that the system wouldn't hang sometimes. So this is great to have, and it's definitely gonna help people who want to use EndeavourOS. Now we have also some new mirrors here for India. We have also some new things here in that the user will be now added to the sys RF kill wheel users group by default. And this is great because that means, for example, on the wheel group, you will have directly access to sudo privileges if you want to have that. If not, you will have to go into the system and remove those if you don't want to. Now, another thing that is very interesting here is that we have a welcome package list. So I'm going to explore this in a second, but you have also a video here on the homepage, which is going to show you exactly what it means and what you can do with it. But basically, we have a file here. If we open up the file browser, we have a file here. Let me actually increase the window slightly here. There you go. We have a file here called user package list txt. So what you can do here, you can open up this file. And you can add here, as it says on the first line here, you can add packages from the repositories, not from the AUR. So you can add here packages from the main repositories that are not normally included here in the install. So if you want to have a package, for example, which is not coming from the default install like Thunderbird, as it shows also on the video here on the website. You can add this like this, for example, by typing in Thunderbird. And if you require another language or another package, you can search it from the repositories and add it here to the list. Now, in my case, I don't need to do this, so I can delete this. But once you add your packages, they will basically be installed with the installer, which is a great addition. It's a great, neat tool. So let me close without saving here and close the file browser. And of course, we have the usual several bug fixes, which is always great. We have also some new features. So the first thing we see here is a new theme and setup for i3, which I actually tried out, and it's really neat. It's really much better and it's more polished than the one they had before. So I encourage you to try out i3 if you like i3. This is definitely a great setup. And as it says here, which is always appreciated for me at least, because I like minimal philosophy, is that they ship only with one new universal wallpaper for all DE and VM. So let's go ahead here and install EndeavourOS. So let me close the website here, to which I will leave anyway the link in the video description of this video. So I'm going to close this up. And let's start the installer. So we're just going to click Start Installer. And we can now choose whether we want to have the offline method or the online method again. So offline is going to install the XFC desktop environment. Online is going to give you the choice of more DEs and VMs. So I'm going to go for online. And I'm going to do this quickly because I've done already an install video of EndeavourOS in the past. So I'm just going to select my language and click Next. The time zone is selected automatically because I have internet already here. If not, you can go ahead here and select eventually your wireless if you have one. So I'm just going to click Next here and select my keyboard layout. By the way, you see everything what happens here in the background on a terminal, which is great if you want to spot errors. And then click Next. Now here we have the new choice to erase the disk and create a swap or a swap file, or we can go ahead and manually partition the disks. Now in my case, I'm going to go this time with manual partitioning and click Next here. And as you can see, the installer crashed. And in fact, it says also here, there is an error for VDA. I don't know if it's related to my virtual machine, but it says now here install finished. So something happened to the installer why I choose manual partitioning. I could have done that manually here, but if the developers of EndeavourOS have seen this, maybe it's something that they can investigate. So I'm going to start the installer again and choose again online. And again, I'm going to choose my language here and go to Next, choose the time zone and select again my keyboard layout. And this time I'm going to go with erase disk and I'm going to choose the swap to file option and then click Next. Now for the desktop environment here, now last time I chose i3, this time I'm going to choose Cinnamon. So as I can see here, we have the Light DM Display Manager, we have Nemo as a file manager, and we have the Arc theme already installed here. We have the usual packages actually, and we have also the GNOME terminal. So that's fine for me. I'm just going to click the packages here and click Next. And now create my username and type in my full name and my username here. I'm going to call this Cinnamon and choose my password. And I use the same password for the admin account. That's fine. And click Next. So we have a summary here. Click Install and install now. And the system is now going to install. Now, this is going to take some time. So I'll be back with you guys when it's done. So here we go, guys. The installation is now done. And we can click, as usual, Restart Now and click Done. Now, the machine is going to restart here in a second. There you go. And we can boot EndeavourOS now. And it's going to take a second to do that. There you go. Here we have the Light DM Display Manager. So let me enter my password and hit enter. And we are now in the Cinnamon desktop. And as you can see here, we have the EndeavourOS wallpaper, which is now across all the flavors of EndeavourOS. So let me close this window here. And I need to change again my display resolution. I can do it from here, or I can do it from the settings in Cinnamon. There you go. And here we have the vanilla Cinnamon desktop in EndeavourOS. Now let's go to the settings here and let's go to themes. And we have several themes already installed. As you can see, I'm going to go with Arc Darker and I'm going to choose here the paper icons. And I'm going to choose also here the Arc Dark for the controls and for the Cinnamon desktop as well. So it's a little bit more uniform as a look and feel. And if I open up the terminal, it's going to reflect also here. So let's type in sudo pacman-s yu to check for updates. And as you can see, the sudo is already working and there is nothing to do. We are up to date. You can see we have also here the EndeavourOS repository already available. You can also disable this if you don't like it in the pacman.com file. And let's type in uname-r. And as you can see here, we are already on kernel 5.10.13. So it's not even a 12 what I was saying before. It's actually already 13. So I think I'll have to update my machine as well. So this is the newest kernel, and of course it came because the system was updated when we installed it now. Now, also not to forget, if you would have installed extra packages from the installer, where I showed you where you can add packages that are not actually coming by default, you would have also those packages here already installed, which is great. Except for the bug in Calamares where I couldn't partition the disk manually. Again, I'm not sure there what happened, if it's something to do with my virtual machine or if it's really a bug in the Calamares installer. I really like this ISO. It's very polished, definitely better than the previous ISO, and it definitely feels more uniform. I tried also out the i3 version and I definitely like it much better than the previous one. So if you want to try out an Arch-based distribution, EndeavourOS is definitely worth a try. And if you want to do that, you can go ahead on the homepage and download the ISO and try it out for yourself. Now, let me know also what you think about EndeavourOS and especially what you think about this ISO. And if you have any question about this video, let me know in the comments below, guys. I will try to answer you as usual as soon as I can. So this is EndeavourOS with the February 2021 ISO. It's definitely much more polished than it was in September of last year. I tried out, as I said in the video, also the i3 version, and I really like how it's themed and how it's put together. Now, if you like Arch-based distributions, definitely give EndeavourOS a try. I think you will like it. If you do so, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And I hope you liked also this video, guys. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and subs to the channel if you haven't already. Subs always help me out. And if you want to support me, you can do so by visiting the Patreon website, or you can donate via PayPal through my website as well. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.